Welcome to Night Watchers, where every story is a door to something unexpected. The beach bonfire was crackling, casting flickering shadows on the sand around us. We were all having a good time, laughing and chatting, enjoying the warmth of the fire on a cool summer night. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed something strange. There were symbols drawn in the sand nearby, intricate patterns that seemed to glow in the firelight. I pointed them out to my friends, and we all gathered around to take a closer look. Who would go to all the trouble of drawing these symbols out here on the beach? Sarah said, her voice tinged with curiosity. We tried to brush it off. Maybe it was just some kids messing around. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something off about those symbols. As the night wore on, things started to feel different. It's hard to explain, but there was this tension in the air, like we were being watched. I glanced around nervously, but couldn't see anything out of the ordinary. Still, the feeling persisted, growing stronger with each passing minute. Then, just when I thought things couldn't get any weirder, I noticed movement in the shadows. It was subtle at first, just a flicker of motion out of the corner of my eye. But when I looked closer, I saw them, figures lurking in the darkness beyond the reach of the firelight. I couldn't make out any details, just their silhouettes against the night sky. A chill ran down my spine. "Who are these people?" I whispered to Matt, one of my friends. Matt shrugged, but his eyes were wide. "I don't know, maybe we should head back to the cars." "Not yet," I replied. "Let's watch for a moment." We all huddled closer together, keeping our eyes on the shadows. We were scared, but also determined to figure out what was going on. Then out of nowhere, one of the figures stepped forward into the firelight. I'll never forget the sight of them, their face hidden beneath a hood, their eyes gleaming in the darkness. My heart pounded in my chest. What do they want from us? I thought. Are we in danger? Before I could react, another figure stepped forward, and then another. They were surrounding us, cutting off any chance of escape. I glanced around desperately, searching for a way out of this nightmare. But the beach stretched out before us, empty and desolate, with no sign of help in sight. Sarah grabbed my arm. "What do we do?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "Stay together," I replied. "We can't let them separate us." Just when things seemed their darkest, we heard voices in the distance. Faint at first, they grew louder and louder with each passing second. We turned toward the sound, hope blossoming in our hearts. Maybe someone was coming to help us. Then, out of the darkness, came a group of people. They were strangers to us, but in that moment, they were our salvation. They chased off the figures, shouting and yelling until the shadowy figures disappeared into the night. We were safe, but we were also shaken to our core by what had just happened. We thanked our rescuers profusely. Without them, who knows what would have happened? As we made our way back to our cars, I glanced back at the beach one last time. The fire still burned brightly against the dark sky, and the symbols in the sand glowed faintly in the firelight. But now, it was just an empty beach, with no sign of the figures that had tried to harm us. I shuddered. I never wanted to experience anything like that ever again. But as I drove away from that beach, I knew I'd never forget the terror of that night, or the strangers who had saved us from the brink of disaster.